Thank you for that riveting entrance, DJ HETUG. Welcome to the Higher Education Tableau User Group September 10th, 2025 meeting. We are thrilled you could be with us today. It's our back to school edition, right? We've got a few announcements, but before that, we'll give you a chance to come off mute and share any announcements that you might have, followed by Meet a Community member this month, who is James Emery, one of our new co-leads. He's from the Georgia Institute of Technology. And that would be followed up by tips and tricks with Jen Snyder, the reigning Tableau prep queen from Salve Regina University. And then Jan Lee will tell us about unlocking institutional insights with data scaffolding techniques. She is from the College of DuPage, and we'll have our typical wrap up and chat in breakout rooms after that is all done. So, does anyone have announcements they would like to come off of mute and share? These could be job postings, events, anything of the sort. And if you don't feel comfortable coming off mute, you can also put them in the chat or share them on our Slack page.
I'm gonna maybe break some rules here, but Marie, did you have an announcement or a request to put out to the community? All right, I'm gonna make the announcement for you then. Marie was looking for someone to potentially speak at an internal tug on parameters. So if you are interested, reach out to Marie Vrablik on the Higher Ed Tableau Slack or in the Tableau community Slack.
Oh, sorry, Roshni. I found someone. Thank you.
Oh, no, never mind then. See, this is why you don't break rules. My bad. I'm glad you found someone.
Yes, thank you.
That's the community at work right there. All right. Anyone else before we get into our few announcements for this month? All right, if there are no takers, then I will go ahead and tell you to save the date for Dreamforce, which is going to be October 14th through 16th, 2025 in San Francisco, California. And if you are lucky enough to be going to this, I'm jealous because I've never been to San Francisco and I would love to go. And if you happen to be going, there's going to be an analytics community meetup where you'll see Elisa Trescott, James Emery, and a bunch of other Tableau folks. It's on the 16th at 11:30 a.m. Local time. So check it out on the Salesforce Events app if you haven't already. And another fun announcement, if you attended the Educator Data Camp like I did, you've been waiting with bated breath for the recordings to finally be available, and they are. So you can go on the page that Roshni just shared in the chat if you'd like to find those recordings. They were a fabulous array of peer-led sessions, hands-on Tableau workshops, and dedicated time to connect with your fellow educators. So Data Camp, good times. And Roshni, I believe you had an announcement too.
I do. So Tableau recently announced the new batch of ambassadors, and it's amazing to see so many folks from higher ed and from education more generally in this year's cohort. I'm going to miss a few names if I try to name everyone, so I'm just going to call out a few people. So first, some new ambassadors, our very own HETUG and California Community College's TUG co-lead Sam Homeyer is one of the new ambassadors, and so is her CCC TUG comrade Kim Coots. And up next, we're going to hear from another new HETUG co-lead and a returning ambassador. So Jenny, back to you.
Thank you so much. So I'd like to introduce our Meet a Community member for the month, Tableau Ambassador James Emery. So James is one of our new co-leads. He's from the Georgia Institute of Technology, where he works as a technical support specialist. So James, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Join us today and every month. So go ahead and start by telling us a little about yourself and describing your role in your team.
I'll first start off with that I'm a native Georgian, so probably one of the lower percentages in Georgia who are actually native to Georgia. I work on the IT team in the college business, the Scheller College business at Georgia Tech. So most of my work is on kind of the back end and on the systems, but that also includes any kind of IT data need. So I'm the main person on our team that works with data. Broadly speaking, we do have one other person who's our ServiceNow expert. So any dashboard or anything needs to be done in ServiceNow, he does. But other than that, I handle all our data needs.
That must explain part of the reason why you're such a whiz at the forums.
Yeah, that's where I started to get there, or started in the forums because I only worked IT, and so when I went to my first Tableau conference in 19, and I kind of didn't fit, or didn't feel like that fit in because everyone else does all this Tableau stuff, data, and I'm only kind of doing it on the side. I brought in Tableau to help me with some of my other jobs, but I'm not a main Tableau user. And so I said, I'm going to get certified, so at least prove myself I know what I'm doing. And it's through the desire to get certified, I started answering questions in the forum, and which led me to become an ambassador. And so nothing much. I got the certification, which is at that time it's a desktop associates. The certification itself probably never did anything for me, but getting certified, which led me to the forums, did a lot for me.
Yeah, that is really good advice. I will say I myself don't get into the forums very much because I feel so overwhelmed by the knowledge that you and some of the other forum ambassadors have. So I don't feel like I could contribute very much, but I do go there to learn. But anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent. Let's go back to the go back to the Meet a Community member questions. What type of data do you work with?
I work with kind of a broad selection. So some of it is the finance. So some of that I do within Workday, but also we have Tableau data, our published data source for the journal entries. And so sometimes I connected it to pull up some budget type requests. I also work with get some student data for people. We subscribe to the Wharton Research Data Services. So we download the usage people have of it so we can report what colleges and what people are doing, what searches on that data sources. And then also just a lot of systems. So I'll export data from Active Directory, SCCM, Intune, ServiceNow, and do different reports for it, particularly on assets.
Okay. You already kind of answered the next question partially, but you could elaborate some more and tell us how you use Tableau at work.
Okay. Well, for those, I don't use it to visualize. I need to start doing more visualizations because there's certain needs that come up that I could probably do some visualizations for. But I'm actually one of those people who creates a lot of Excel with Tableau and Tableau prep. And a lot of that's because we need action items. So I need to say, right now, if people didn't know, Windows 10 is end of life in October, so we have to get all our computers off Windows 10. So I'm using the different systems to keep track of who's still got Windows 10 computers, if those Windows 10 computers are upgradable or have to be replaced, and then creating spreadsheets that actually let us know, okay, we need to do mail merge, like send email to these people and contact them. So a lot of lists.
And we all know that Tableau can do that, even that if that's not really its intended use. So do you have a favorite Tableau project that you've worked on or used Tableau?
Well, as most of the stuff I do, I'm mostly my own end user. So I do stuff for myself and then hand off end products to like the spreadsheets people. I did help our undergraduate office do a dashboard based on their graduate survey. So as people graduate, they do a survey. Where do they get hired? What's their the starting salary? What industry? And so they found a dashboard they liked from Carnegie Mellon that was on public. Unfortunately, Carnegie Mellon did not allow you to download the dashboard, so I just had to create it from scratch. But very much based on theirs, we had to make some modifications. So theirs was for their whole university. This was just for the college of business. So there's some differences on the focus, but so that was the one thing that I actually did within the college that was actually helping another unit instead of just doing things within IT.
That sounds like a cool project. So tell us more about how long you've been using Tableau and how you learned how to use it.
So I got I first actually wasn't creator license, it was just a desktop license in May of 2000 and I'm going blank now, 18. Yeah, 2018. I don't think I actually did that much before then. I knew of it obviously because I'm the one who asked to get the Tableau license. So we had two ideas to come of how I was going to use it. One was just to do better reports out of our SQL database because at that point my predecessor was just using Microsoft Access to do kind of queries into it, which is just not good. It was much easier to do it with Tableau. And we were just transitioning over to Salesforce. Now, this is pre-acquisition, but still, there was a connector into Salesforce until I realized that when you go log into the website for Salesforce and see the name of the fields and look at the data, and then when you connect Tableau to Salesforce, completely different. The fields are different. It is, for me, as very new, was incomprehensible. Shortly after that, I went to my a Tableau event that was held in Atlanta and met Nelson. That was the first time I met Nelson, who at that time I think was a Zen master, and mentioned the issue to him. And he says, "Oh yeah, when you're working with Salesforce, you can't connect it directly. You have to have some kind of go between Salesforce and Tableau." So it's okay. I'll drop that from my idea of what I plan to do with Tableau. And so then there's just a lot of just working within it. I did some uh, online training, either through LinkedIn training or I forgot the other one, but some minor training, but mostly just using it.
Mhm.
And until I wanted to get the certified, and then because my everyday usage is so narrow, what I do with work, I did uh, a course on the certification by taught by Kirill. He has some stuff. He's from Ukraine. He used to be an analyst for Deloitte or consultant for Deloitte. Very good trainer. I don't think he does that much training more. I think he does more in the AI workspace. But back in around 2018, I think he was probably one of the best trainers, online trainers you could attend.
Excellent. So do you have a favorite Tableau feature?
I don't know if you can reconsider a feature. I'm really beginning to like table calculations. And so I've used it before, and like when I was answering questions in the forum, a lot of times I would answer, hey, this is how you do it with the LOD, this is how you do it with table calculations. And just this year, and I actually spoke at the Atlanta Tableau user group in January on table calculations. And since then, I've just started looking more into it, discovering things that I didn't realize. Like one thing I discovered only fairly recently is like whenever normally you put the table calculation on your shelf, and they'll say the running total by, and it will tell you the direction on it, and it's always kind of annoying. So there's an easy way to get for it to not do that. For when you to put the field on there, it only gives them the field, not the direction. And then there's a couple of things that just playing around, you just learn. Okay, I did not realize this. So very
Well,
powerful. So if you don't like table calculations, I recommend try using. They can be confusing at first, but once you kind of learn kind of the secrets of it or kind of what it's doing, they're actually quite powerful.
I sense a future HETUG tips and tricks session on that. So moving on, what is something you'd like to learn more about in Tableau?
Well, one thing that's been on my list for a while is more mapping because I like GIS. I actually, when I was in graduate school, I took two courses on GIS where we used Arc ArcView at the time. I think it's ArcMap now. So I haven't done as much as I need or should have done in Tableau with mapping, and also just doing the mapping itself, learning how to use map layers because even beyond mapping, there's so much map layers can do within Tableau. So just doing more on mapping, and on the modeling side is starting to work more with the new different types of modeling, the multi-fact tables, just really learn to appreciate how those work, especially as we hopefully soon introduce the ability to use it with published data sources. So instead of blending, you'll be able to use published data sources with modeling.
Nice. That would be fantastic. So what is one thing that you wish you could go back in time and tell Tableau newbie you?
one thing I probably need to tell myself constantly, even now, which is I'm very introverted. I I'm not going to be an outgoing person. That's one where when I went to the Tableau conference in 19, it was not as good as it could have been because I didn't really know that many people. I knew some people from HETUG there, and but I didn't know them well enough. I thought to say, hey, I'm gonna go hang out with you because I don't know they don't know me that well. I don't want to hang out with them if they don't really know me. And so then once you start really meeting people, I say, oh, that's actually not a big deal. I mean, get to know people. Go. Obviously people here attending the virtual meetings, but if there's a in-person Tableau user group in your area, go to it, meet people. If you get a chance to go to conference, do that because there's definitely a difference between meeting people in person than just doing it online. But online is good too, so that's why you should hang out after our sessions for the breakout rooms.
Definitely good advice. I know it took me a few years ago into Tableau conference before I was feeling confident enough to get to know the members of the Tableau community too. All right. Do you ever use Tableau outside of work? And if so, how?
Yeah, mostly for answering questions on the forum. And I keep telling myself, hey, I need to do this presentation or do some visits, put up on public. And then when I sit down and I have the choice of either working on a visualization or answering questions, I just tend to go to answering questions because it's the thing that's easy for me. So the kind of technical answering questions is I find easy. The creative part is less easy for me, and so I tend to procrastinate. I gather a lot of data. I spend so much time gathering data than never actually do anything with it.
I feel you there because I have a lot of projects I start and don't finish. So is there anything else you'd like to share before we move on to your dashboard spotlight?
No, just to reiterate about trying to meet people, going to different Tableau user groups. If you happen to travel for work or vacation and there happens to be a user group meeting at the time, stop by. I did that with the Gulf Coast user group. That was my niece is in Pensacola, so I arranged to visit her one time when the Gulf Coast was doing their meeting. So went to Mobile, went to it, and then went over to Pensacola. At some point, I'm going to drive up to Nashville. So yeah, definitely, if anything's in driving distance of where you are, try to go to a in-person event.
That's excellent advice. I myself wish we could have an in-person HETUG one day, but you know, the closest we get is the higher education meetups at the Tableau conference. So I'm going to turn you over to Sam for your dashboard spotlight.
Okay.
Take it away, Sam.
Well, really take it away, James. So tell us about this dashboard. What do you like about it? Why'd you choose it? How has it inspired you?
Well, some months ago, well, first, one of those projects I've gathered data for and have never got around to, I wanted a Sankey for. And while I think about doing the Sankey for it, I said, well, there's actually something at work I could do a Sankey for, and that's for our evening MBA program. I was interested in how many people start it, how long does it really take? There's an estimated time it should take, but how long does it really take? How many classes are people taking each term? Is how many people are dropping out? Is dropout even across all terms, or are there certain periods people drop out more? And so I thought that'd be a good thing for a Sankey. And we can't use the Viz extensions at work, so I knew it was going to be something I would have to build. And so it got put on the back burner. And then a couple weeks ago, I was listening to Zach Bowder's podcast, where Kim was the guest. And for those who don't yet, if you don't know about Zach Bowder's podcast, Data Plus Love, that's another thing recommend. A great way to learn about community members. So if you're going to go to conference, it's a good thing to listen to those so you learn more about the members that you're about to meet. But listen to that episode, they mentioned this Viz. And I said, okay, that sounds kind of like what I want. So when I got a chance, I went to Viz, look at it, and says, this is very much like what I had pictured. And then I saw the cumulative view, and I said, this is even better than I had actually pictured it, because I'd only kind of thought it by semesters. The only thing, and it came in on this default view and says, well, the main difference of what she did versus what I want to do is I want to see all terms together. So not a particular starting term, but all starting terms. And then I realized, well, if you go to filter and select all, you get that. So yeah, I would have to make a couple modifications because we wouldn't be part-time, full-time. It'd be more like taking one course, taking two courses, or taking 3+ courses. So some modifications to do. But this was like, wow, this is very a great basis of what I would like. I like that it has the description. So if you do the question mark, it actually there's an overlay of how to read it. So if you're not familiar with what a stepped out is, uh, it will explain it. I had not even thought about, to the extent I thought about people drop out of the courses, I was just going to do it as a not enroll. And then at Georgia Tech, after not enrolling for 2 consecutive terms, you are made inactive or a former student. And so I figured, so, okay, after 2 terms, I'll take them from being a do not or did not enroll to being a former student. And then I realized, oh yeah, the step out is actually better. So you actually assign to the term they leave instead of waiting to 2 terms later to take them out.
Yeah, this dashboard, like I could look at this for days. This is an amazing dashboard. Yeah. So what have you learned from it that you think others might find interesting or informative?
Well, one is the structure. One of the most, I guess, difficult things of making these is how do you structure the data to get it over? I downloaded this, did the extract out, so I could actually see how and using prep to see how it's organized, and then I have a better idea of how do I need to use prep with the student data I have to get it in the correct structure. So that's great things about the templates like this is that not only do they have the layout for you, it actually just shows a lot of structuring, and structuring is a lot of times the really difficult part about making good visualizations. And it's definitely not the most intuitive part because sometimes, at least with structure, you know what you want, and you can play around to get it. With structuring, it's not always very intuitive of what you need to do to get it to do what you want.
Yeah, no, and I know with Sankey's, especially not using the extension, setting up the data is one of the hardest parts of getting this graph. Yeah.
And the question is about using extensions. At work on our server, we would not be able to use a viz extension. So if I wanted to use a viz extension, actually, that's a question. Does anyone know, does the Tableau reader allow you to use viz extensions? So if you created something with a viz extension in desktop and then gave it to someone in a reader, would they be able to? So I'm guessing not. So that's something for. But the only thing is, it's probably going to have to be built this way using just kind of native ability as opposed to relying on a viz extension, because a lot of viz extensions are being hosted, and so we're not going to have that on our server.
Yeah, I know there's some security issues with that too. Yeah. Okay, but thank you so much, James. This dashboard was built by Kim Coots at Maricosta College. And if you like this dashboard, then there's a few different things you can see Kim present this. She presented it at our HETUG kickoff meeting back in August 2023. And the template is available in the HETUG resources. Also, very exciting, this dashboard is going to be featured in the new book, Dashboards That Deliver, by Andy Cotgreave, Amanda Makulek, Jeffrey Schaefer, and Steve Wexler. So you can pre-order this book now. It comes out September 23rd, and you can buy it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or through a local bookstore. So very huge congrats to Kim for getting published. It's one of 15 dashboards that made it into the book. So very, very exciting news for Kim. And thank you for choosing that one, James. It's a very, it's a big dashboard. Yeah. So thank you.
And and I'm glad Kim was a guest of Zach's, and that was listening to Zach's podcast, because otherwise, even though I'd probably eventually seen it in this book, but I got to see it sooner because Kim was a guest of Zach.
Okay, so thank you again, James. Now we're going to have Jen Snyder talk about some tips and tricks with pivots and prep. So Jen Snyder has been with Salve Regina University for over 14 years, and she has been the Assistant Director of Institutional Research for almost 10 years. Her responsibilities have included everything from IPEDS and other compliance reporting to survey administration, and most importantly, data visualization and analytics. Like many others, Jen started working with data using Microsoft tools, including Access and Excel and Power Query. Jen found Tableau Desktop in 2019 and hasn't looked back, and she's been using Prep Builder for a few years, and it's been a game changer. Also, if you want to know more about Jen, she was our Meeta community member back in July. So thank you so much, Jen, and I will let you take it away.
Okay, thanks. Let's see if I can share my screen. Everybody see my screen?
Yep, you're good to go.
Okay, thank you. All right. So I'm not going to say too much because, Sam, that was a great intro for me. Thank you very much. I'm just going to get right to it. And what I'm going to talk about today is revisiting the pivot problem. This was originally posted on Slack by Ginny. And what she wanted was, she started with a file that looked like this, where she had award information, and for each student, there was an ID, an amount, a source, and a type. I think she actually technically had more fields than that, but she wanted to take this polished file and convert it to a wide table, which, yes, is not what we typically do. But what she wanted was to have one row for each student and then columns for all of the different aspects of each award. Okay, so the original solution was proposed by Roshni, and the two of them worked together and came up with the solution that worked for Ginny, and they presented it in April. So I'm sure that you're all very familiar, because where else would you be but, oops, sorry about that. But at the HETUG. So the problem became, it was much more complicated than originally anticipated. There ended up being way too many pivots, calculations, renaming fields, and then manual interactions every time that awards were added. This is kind of a screenshot of Ginny's end solution. And this was the original, but then if she had any additional awards added, more pivots, complicated. So I was watching the HETUG, and I thought, that is really complicated. There must be a better way, an easier way. I won't say better, an easier way. And I came up with one that is just 2 pivots and 2 things that you have to manually update. Basically, this is the solution. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time on here because I want to show you in prep. I have too many windows open as usual. All right. Is that going to give me what I want? Nope. There we go. All right, so this is kind of a mock-up of Ginny's solution. It starts with Roshni's creation of a rank. And just show you the rank real quick. No, it doesn't want to edit for me. Great. always when you're presenting, right? Well, what you would do is select the fields that you want to rank, create a calculated field, and choose rank. We want to partition by student ID, and I'm going to alphabetize the awards because that's what I do, and done. So that's basically what that step was. And you notice that it's called award number. You can do that right here in the creation so that it's all in one step. I'm not going to go through the rest of these. You can watch the recording if you want to see the original solution. And full disclosure, these are all empty pivots. I just wanted the demonstration. So what did I do? I took the original data, one line for each award amount for each student. I created a rank just like Roshni did. And I just want to say that I'm not sure that I would have come up with this solution if I hadn't seen the solution that Jenny and Roshni did. So community working together. But at this point, there would have been lots of calculations, and I don't need to do that. I'm going straight to a pivot. And notice I'm doing a columns to rows, which is the reverse of the way the original solution approached it. I'm going to do all of my fields that are award related, and I'm pivoting those. I'm also making a couple of changes. This group names, all I did was change the value of, I went from award amount to AWD underscore AMT. This was part of the requirement for the original problem. And I did that for each of the headers. Next, I'm creating my headers. Now, these are going to become my column headers eventually. And all I did was concatenate my pivot names with the string of award number. And you can see here, I have award amount 1 through 5, ID 1 through 5, etc. And then I cleaned it up a little by just getting rid of the fields that I don't need. Next, now we're going to take all of those headers that we created and make them headers. So rows to columns. And I'm just taking everything except for the student ID and the award column, putting those into headers. I don't want to undo that because I'm afraid something will break, but it's just a drag and drop. And I went minimum award because there's just one for each, so it doesn't really matter. I could do min or max as long as I'm not using count. And you can see over on the right that we've got 5 students. You can look up here. Now I have 5 rows, so 1 row per student. And in this last step, I reordered the fields, basically putting all of the 1s together, all of the 2s together. I do this as my last step because if you do it as your last step, it holds your order. And that's basically the solution. And here you have, I'll show you here. And there you have your long. Now, that's great. But part of the problem was what happens when you get more data? And Ginny said she gets more data and there's going to be more awards. I happen to have some additional data, and I'm just going to drop it in here, replace what was there, and just walk through this again. Notice I have 16 rows now. I should have pointed out I started with 14 or 15. The columns to rows, still the same. Don't have to do anything there. This is the tricky part though. If you look at my columns to rows, you can see that there's a 6 there. So I've got that 6 award in the file. However, when I come here, I've only got 5. I don't want to have to redo everything every time. Fortunately, I don't have to. I found on a community post by Susan Nordquist, don't know if you guys can read that, that if you have this step in focus, right click and refresh. Now I have my 6th award. Go to the next. Everything's going to be in order except for those newly added. So I'm just going to go here, select, drag them down. And we have our new updated data. And just a note, this does work in reverse. So if you were to add a new file to this and it had fewer awards in it, do the same thing, refresh this rows to column step, and it will do what it needs to do. How are we doing on time? I have one little additional trick.
We want to see it. We want to see it.
Okay, so this was, as you know, a very specific use case and not what we typically do. What we typically get is this file, and we need to make it a taller file, right? I think everybody can agree with that. So I took the after. Why is that empty? There we go. And I want to pivot it back to make it taller. But the key is I have 4 columns that I need to work together. So what do I mean by that? I've started the pivot. It's going to be a columns to rows. Remember, we have a lot of columns. We want to get more rows. So I'm just going to back it up a little bit here. I like using the search. You can drop the fields. If I wanted type next, I can select them and I can drop them. But the trick is if you use the search and type part of it, because this little 3 dots I've got search option is contains. If I type part of one of those fields and hit enter, notice that it automatically names my column for me based on what's in those fields. But I want more. So I've got 2 so far. I need source. Oops. Use the wildcard. SRC. Now the key here is, first of all, I love the fact that you can group these pivots together all in one step. But the key is, in addition to using these wildcard searches, you have to make sure that the order is correct. So whatever is first in the award ID has to be matched with whatever's first in the type and so on. So make sure that it goes 1 to 5 in this case. And they all do. And now I'm going to add the clean step. And now we have 25 rows. Rearrange a little bit here because I can't not. A little bit easier to look at. I don't need this one. And this one I want to rename as amount. And voila. That's it. Were there any questions? I can't see the chat.
No
Anyone?
questions, just a lot of holy crap.
Yeah.
That was amazing on top of amazing on top of amazing. That's all I got.
Thank you.
You should definitely read through the comments.
I will definitely do that. All right, and thanks again for having me here yet again.
Thank you.
Hi everyone. Let me share my screen.
So before Yanni, before you
Oh.
start, we've got intros for you. Come
Okay.
on.
Yeah. Let me okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Would you like me to do the intro?
yes, please.
Oh, okay. So
let me stop sharing. Okay.
okay. So Yan Lee is a research analyst and adjunct faculty member at the College of DuPage in Illinois. Now, her background is in electrical and systems engineering. Now, she took more than a decade off to raise her children, which is an opportunity she values greatly and which continues to shape her approach to work and life. And when Yan returned to the workforce several years ago, her focus changed to data analytics. She has earned several certifications, including the Tableau Certified Data Analyst. Now, when not at work, she spends most of her time with her children, and to celebrate her children, she's provided some of their drawings for the slide. So the Florida drawing was given to her to welcome her back from a recent conference trip. The homework photo gives them a glimpse of how they tackle their schoolwork, and the picture with the R reflects certain items that they enjoy. And if you notice, there is a PS5 and a Nintendo. So in the future, we may see some of their future work on Games Night Viz.
Thank you, James. Yeah, I really appreciate that you give people those information. And recently, I have become an adjunct faculty, teach data analytics at the same college. Since I used to spend most of my spare time with my kids, and after taking this additional job, I had much less time for them, so they started complaining about that. But I feel like that I really enjoy to be with them because they gave me the chance to kind of like I grown up once again in another way with them. So thank you for sharing this with everyone. Today, I was given this great opportunity to share here at Tableau Higher Ed User Group. I personally feel very honored. I've attended some meetings in the past. Each time, I walked away with valuable insights and ideas, just as what Jen and James shared. So my hope is that today's session, my presentation will also provide you at least a few takeaways that you can bring back with you. All right, let's get started. Let me share my screen. How can I share my screen? Wait a second. Zoom, share screen. This one. And can everybody see it?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. So let me move this away. Nowadays, visualization tools have become indispensable in most IR offices. I'm not very sure about everyone here come from institutional research office, but I think most of you probably work, at least work related to this. We use visualization tools to visualize complex informations and uncover key insights. In many cases, we rely on these tools to guide our decision making. However, as an IR professional, we frequently face a situation that the available data is insufficient to support the required visualizations. This may come from missing data in some degree. Either they are partially missing or entirely, or from the data structure that obscures clarity. To address these challenges, data scaffolding has been introduced as a powerful technique for enhancing data-driven visualizations and further leading our decision-making. One of the key functions of our professionals is to respond to data requests across the college and provide insights on various questions of interest. The insights gathered from us serve as the data that support informed decision-making. We often been asked some questions on the list by various areas throughout the college. These inquiries may come from operational management, course scheduling, facility utilization, or campus events, like how much food should be prepared for the cafeteria across various times of the day and buildings, what are the faculty's daily teaching workloads, what time is more appropriate for scheduling events, are there enough parking spaces for students to use in term, and many more. When these type of questions arise, we notice that no matter how they are phrased, the fundamental inquiry revolves around the student count at different locations during various time period. Actually, this presentation originally stemmed from a data request I received a year and a half ago. Our food vendors want to know how many students were presented in each building at different time of day so that they can better plan their food services. After receiving this request, I realized that if we replace food service with any other resources, such as classroom, staff, parking, it can help answer a wide range of space and resources management questions. So this might be an example of project of interest. You are asked to count the number of students at a specific building on any given day over a period of time. And also the insights you gathered will need to be shared with people from different areas. So how should we approach this project? Let's begin by analyzing the requirement of the request. According to our understanding of the questions previous mentioned, it basically involves a time series analysis of student counts. In addition, since the report of findings need to be shared with people across different scopes, we must consider varying levels of access to the information provided. Let's work out together to complete this project by using student enrollment data. So here is an example of data modified from the regional. I masked the student information, but kept their activity within the specific time frame we are interested in. We have student ID, section name, building, section start date, end date, and the section start time and end time. As we think about how this might look like, let me pull out Tableau. So this is the data we have extracted. First, we filter the data to focus on the specific building. Let's see. Let's see, birth center. Next, we place the start date in the column and the student ID in the row. Let me see, start date to the column. And a student ID to the row. By adding the number of days between the start and end dates to the size, we can visualize the students' activity over time like this. Here we can see that some students, they take more sections and others only took one. However, we notice an issue. Not every day on the calendar is marked. We can only label the section start date and end date. So without those daily marks, we cannot actually calculate the daily student numbers. So this is our first challenge. Actually, it's pretty normal in time series analysis. The data is often only available when events occur, as we see here. We have sections start date, end date. That means we only have section, the granularity of the time is only to section level. But we want to visualize the day level data. So in this case, that means that we are missing student data beyond just the section start dates and end start and end date time. For example, let's go back to our example data. The student with an ID in 394 visited Phillips building every day from August 19, 2019 to December 13, 2019. If the data set is complete, we'd have record for each of those days. But as it stands, the data is incomplete. That is where data scaffolding comes into play. So what is data scaffolding? Imagine you are constructing a tall building to help workers to reach higher levels or provide support for tools and materials. You need a temporary structure outside the building, just like this picture shown here. While it's not part of the final structure, it plays an important role in making sure the construction process runs smoothly. Data scaffolding works in a similar way. It involves creating and using additional data to organize, prepare, and support the data needed throughout the process of building or analyzing something. In our context, data scaffolding refers to the technique used to fill in the missing data from data source and restructure it to meet specific needs. Ultimately, we can use it for better visualization and analysis. Then the obvious question is how to scaffold data. Basically, it have 3 steps. First of all, we need to create a data set according to the project needs. After that, combine the data from different sources. And then we need to create calculation based on the new structured data. Coming back to our project, with this first challenge in mind, so our first challenge is we only have section level data, but we need day level data, right? So let's move into Tableau demonstration to explore how we can approach this by scaffolding. So this is a SQL part I have used to extract original student enrollment data from data warehouse. First, we create a date table. It contains all days, including section start dates and end dates. If you take a look, it has every day from January 1st, 2019, all the way through December 2027. And also, we create another timetable to slice time of day. Here shows every hour on the hour. You may choose your own time slots based on your project needs. For example, if your college's second starting normally is start as quarters, you probably want to choose quarters, not the o'clock. After that, we join the created data set with our original incomplete data by the criteria of section start date less than or equal to date, and the section end date greater or equal to date. And also section start time less or equal to time, and section end time greater or equal to time. After that, we get a new data set. Now we can create the level detail calculation about student counts for any given day and time slots based on this new set. Let's dive in. So in general, we use highlight tables or heat maps to visualize questions related to frequencies or intensities. Let's use a highlight table for this case. We first narrow down data by choosing building birth center and year. Let's choose 2023. And also let's choose time slots to be morning 8 to 10. Show filters. Okay, since we would like to know daily student numbers, so we want to show every day of the year. Let's put months to the column. Where's months here? And put day to the row. By placing the student numbers to colors, and the student numbers to the label. I forgot to use square, and student number to the label. Then we get the highlight table. Now we have student counts on any given day of year of 2023 at birth center during morning 8 to 10. By changing the filters, we can get the student numbers at different locations and time slot. It seems that we've completed the time series analysis by using scaffolding. But what insights can we gain from this visualization? Well, we know that some day this building have too few students. So let's change to birth center. Yeah, we can see that some days have more students than other days, and some time slots have more students and some have fewer. But identify clear pattern can be challenging. Normally student classes are scheduled on different days a week. Thinking of that, we might want to restructure this visualization using the week-based calendar approach to see if we can gain deeper insights. So let's going back to our data model. Second time, we will use scaffolding. This time we create a table with 3 columns. The number columns means the month number, and the columns and the rows give us the information about where we should put that month's information. For example, month number 1 means January. So we would like to put January to row 1, column 1, February to row 1, column 2, so on and so forth. We would like to put December to row 4, column 3. After we create this data set, we build a relationship with between it and the data set we already have based on the month number. Now let's see how we can use it. This time, we first to put the column to column, row to row. Later, each of these text box will be put into month information. Oh, well, sorry. First, we need to filter data. Otherwise, they are putting together. The same way, first to put building as birth center and year to be still 2023. And the time slots, we choose morning 8 to 10. And then show filters. And this time we put column to column, row to row. And let's put weekday to the column and week of the month to the row. Okay, it's kind of already look like a calendar, but it's too skinny. Let's make it bigger. And add a border. Since we want to show the calendar, so we want to show day Let's put day here and edit it. Make it smaller. And let's put its position maybe like this. It, it looks good, but upside down. Let's edit axis to reverse it. Great, it's already look like a calendar. And then we can put student numbers to color. Let's edit tooltip because we don't want so many information. We just want to keep the student number and the day, so that's easier for us to read. Let's remove this and put it to exact date. Now, when we hover over to any day, we can get the student count show up in the tooltip. For example, on April 7th, 2027, 2023, at Birth Center during morning 8 to 10, we have 823 students. This is very useful. However, we notice the issue that there are some days they don't have student numbers, but we still have colors on it. This gives us some misleading impression that there are students. So let's edit color again. Because we want to, okay. Now it looks good. We can know that in the summer, some of the Friday, there's no students because there are no any classes in the summer on Friday. And normally on Monday, they don't have students because there are no classes on Sunday. So this after we apply this color scheme, the visualization can better reflect our data. Before we moving on, let's just do a couple of cosmetic things. We just take away all the headers and the labels so that makes more clear. And let's put the weekdays to the top. Okay, this looks much better now. According to the color legend, for the specific building like Birth Center at morning 8 to 10 in the year 2023, we can tell that we have more students enrolled in the fall than in the spring, making parking more challenging during that term. Additionally, if an event requires more space, probably Tuesdays and Thursdays are better choices because we have fewer students on those days, right? And regarding food supplies, more food should be provided on Mondays and Wednesdays as we have more students compared with other days. So if we adjust the locations and the time slot, we can get insights about those for other building and time slots. So Yeah. So far, by using scaffolding twice, we can track daily student numbers across different locations and time slots, provide more meaningful insights with the calendar heat map we already built here. But it has not been finished yet. You remember that the project still asks us to share the result with people of different scopes. Tableau support row-level security at workbook level, which allow us to control who has access to different parts of the information within the workbook. Unfortunately, our original dataset lacked access to right information. However, we can create a new dataset based on the report recipient to implement row-level security for this specific report. This time we create a table, have 3 columns. It includes email, name, and access code. With this access code, we can define and control who has access right based on your definition, right? For example, here, Yan have access code 1. It was defined that I can only access information about building at center, birth center. If I would like to access information about other buildings, no data will be displayed. With this table, we left join it with the original data set based on the access code. So after this, we can create a Boolean calculation on top of the new data. Let's see how it works. First, we duplicated this report we would like to use. And then we define as a person. It used the Tableau user function. It's just a username equals email we provided. And we put this calculation to the filter shelf and then choose true. It's done. Let's see if it works. Remember, I can only access ad center and the birth center. This is ad center, looks good. It's shown up. If I want to see nap center, no. And if I would like to see this building, no. But if I come back to birth center, it's shown up again. So it looks great. Now we can share this meaningful daily student count across different locations and time slots with various people. We can see that by using data scaffolding 3 times to address challenges such as incomplete data, missing data, and restructuring the visualization, we successfully finished this project. Let's revisit what we have accomplished in this project by using data scaffolding. At the beginning of the project, our original dataset lacked student information other than that of the start and end date. By using scaffolding to fill in the missing date and time, we made time series analysis feasible. Next, we applied data scaffolding along with common sense to restructure the visualization, enabling us to gain clear and actionable insights into the issue. Finally, we defined access right for the workbook and implemented them with scaffolding, ensuring that the appropriate content is accessible to specific groups. So it's almost the end of this session. I hope this session can help you identify common challenges in visualizations, understand data scaffolding, how to apply it, and finally, you can use it to enhance your work and gain valuable insights. Yeah, thank you. That's all. And if you have any questions, I'd like to answer at my ability.
So we do have a question in the chat around the null values. So in one of the drop-down lists, you had a null as an option. I don't remember which one. It might have, is it morning? Wasn't that one? That one, yeah. So
Okay.
is there a way to hide that, or have you had users sort of get confused by that being there? I know I've seen it in some of my filters, and I'm like,
yeah,
this is how it is. So have you found a solution for that?
Yeah, I heard that if you it worked out. Let me see if I have finished this one. I can show you something. I see. Let me see if I there's a way to get out of it, but I'm not very sure. Let's see this one. Not this one. Let me see.
Yeah, it was the one, the year.
Oh
filter.
yeah, the year one. Okay, let's go back to that one. Hours. Let's see. Oh, not this one. Yeah, there's a way to get out of that. But you must use another sheet, and you put year to here, and then you exclude this null value and apply it. And when you show filters, there's some you can choose let me see the sheet 2, and this one is sheet 4. Yes. Okay, let's see, come back to see this again. I remember there's a way like that to get rid of it, but it's still there. Yeah, I know there's a way like that. You just in another sheet, you just exclude it, and probably is this one.
Yeah, I've seen the case where you have to like make a copy of the field and do the filter on the copy of the field. And
Yeah.
like it's complicated. It's not as straightforward as you would hope that it would be.
Yeah, there's a way to get out of it, but yeah, I cannot remember how to do that.
Yeah.
But there's a way to get out. Yeah.
Sorry for putting you on the spot for that. It does look like there's a couple of later responses in the chat that seem to solve this. So thank you so much, Jan. Like this was really great. I love you took something that could have been just a really awful spreadsheet, which is what I feel like most people would, most of our end users probably want to see at first, and made it into something just really easy to gain insights from. The visual was just spot on, and the way you brought in the technical data scaffolding to make it more complete and make it look more like that calendar that it needs to be to share the insight. Just amazing. So thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, we are going to close up today's session. So we want to thank everyone for coming to today's session. Please tell us what you thought. We're going to throw some links in the chat now. So yeah, let us know what you thought. Sign up for next month's meeting. It's a little while. It's like 6+ weeks from now. But we're going to have Joe O'Brien from Michigan State talking about a residency matching dashboard. It is our Halloween HETUG, so that's where the playing doctor to becoming a doctor piece comes in. Evan Alini from Vanderbilt is going to do a TC encore of his Vandy Conquers the Cloud in 24 session. And I know I've seen a few references to people moving from Tableau Server to Tableau Cloud. So here's an opportunity to learn a little bit more about that process and what happened at Vanderbilt. It's actually going to be a slightly extended version. We're going to get to see all the things that Evan had to cut to make it into 20 minutes. And so it's going to be, closer to 30, 40, something like that. And then finally, Tableau conferences 9 months away. I know that doesn't sound like it's coming up soon, but we think it's coming up soon. So we want to look back a little bit about what we learned from Tableau Conference 25 and look towards 26 so we can figure out what types of things do we as an education community want to see and hear at TC 26 and help sort of build out a series of potential conference proposals, meetup options, and all sorts of other cool things to make Tableau Conference 26 a lot better for us as an education community. And finally, as always, if you want to present or if you want to nominate someone else to present, there is a link in the chat. And we want to share a few other a few other Tableau user group and related events that are happening. We're calling it our HETUG Friends and Family slide. So the Data Plus Maps TUG is very busy this month. Not only are they co-hosting a meeting with the Food Bank TUG about mapping the possibilities, and that's happening tomorrow, and the link is somewhere earlier in the chat. But they're also going to have a session on map layers on the 17th with Wendy Shija, Annabelle Rincon, and Prasan Prem. The K through 12 TUG is having their kickoff event for the school year with some dashboard showcases, one on attendance, and another, I think, just more general K-12 dashboards.
And then on September 18th, the Tableau Public TUG is having an Iron Viz qualifiers special. So if you are interested in submitting a viz for Iron Viz, I would highly recommend attending that. And then on September 23rd, Kevin Wee is going to the Newbies TUG to talk about infographics. I've learned so much every time I see Kevin Wee present, so I also highly recommend that one. And then the California Community Colleges TUG is on October 1st, and we're talking about dynamic zone visibility. So make sure to attend all of these.
And there's one more.
Yes. So if you're like Jenny and you're unable to go to San Francisco for Dreamforce 2025 and hang out with Matthew McConaughey and Rob Lowe, you can still catch the sessions on Salesforce Plus. This is actually the same platform that they streamed the Tableau conference on. So if you didn't attend Tableau conference, or if you were catching up on sessions after Tableau conference, the same platform to sign up for the Dreamforce 2025, and you can have 3 days of sessions.
All right. And with that, thank you, everyone. Thank you to all of our speakers, James, Jen, and Jan. And thank you to everyone for coming, for attending today's TUG. We hope you learned something. We hope you enjoyed yourself. And we hope you come again next time and ready for some Halloweeny goodness.